This is the video notes that go along with the guided notes for complementary and supplementary angle word problems, okay? So just a really quick, fast review is complementary angles are two angles that with a sum of 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are two angles with a sum of 180 degrees. And you talked about this in 7th grade math, okay? Now, this is kind of similar to those coin problems and a couple of the other ones that we've done because of how you can read the problem to help you set it up, okay? So let's look at example 1, okay? Two angles are complementary. The larger angle is 10 more than 3 times the measure of the smaller angle. What are the angle measurements, okay? Now we know they're complementary, so that means that when I add them up, they're going to add to equal 90 degrees, okay? Now, look at the next sentence. This tells you how they're related. It says the larger angle is 10 more than 3 times the measure of the smaller angle. What did this sentence end with? Smaller angle. That is your variable. So x is going to equal the smaller angle. Okay, I'm cheating, just abbreviating there. Now, let's back it up. The larger angle is 10 more than 3 times the measure. So 10 more there means I'm going to add 10. Add 10 to what? 3 times the measure of the smaller angle. So that's going to be 3x. And it's going to be the larger angle. Well, that makes sense. It's going to be larger because you're multiplying and adding to it. Okay? So there are the measurements for your two angles. Okay? Now, they says right here that they are complementary. So that tells me I'm going to add them up and they're going to equal 90 degrees. So right here to set up my equation, I'm going to take my small angle. I'm going to add to it my large angle. And then I'm going to make it all equal up to 90 degrees. Well, this is the easy part, solving. Combine like terms, that's going to be 4x plus 10 equals 90. And then when I subtract 10 from both sides, I get 4x equal to 80. When I divide by 4, I have x equal to 20. So what does that mean? That means the smallest angle is 20 degrees, and that larger angle is going to be 3 times 20 plus 10. Well, 3 times 20 is 60. 60 plus 10 is 70. So it's going to be 70 degrees. Just like that. And I'm done. Okay? Pause it, copy it, and then we'll go to example 2. Now, example 2 says, if the measure of one of two supplementary angles is 40 less than 3 times the measure of the other angle, what are their measurements? Okay, so this first part of the sentence is if the measure of the two supplementary angles, this means that they add up and equal to 180. Okay, but it says one of the two angles is 40 less than 3 times the measure of the other angle. What did that sentence end with? Other angle. So right here, the other angle is going to be my x. Okay? And for lack of a better name, I'm going to call that the one I'm going to add to it, the first angle, because look up here, it said one of two supplementary angles. So the reason I use the word first is only because it was the first one it talked about. Okay? Now, So this angle is going to be 40 less than 3 times the measure. Well, we know 40 less than means to take away 40. What are you going to take it away from? 3 times the measure, so that's going to be 3x. Now, again, it said it was supplementary, so these two angles are going to add up to be 180 degrees. So I'm going to come right here and set that up. X plus 3x minus 40 equal to 180. Now, just combine my like terms. I got 4x minus 40 equal to 180. If I add the 40 to both sides, I've got 4x equal to 220. And when I divide by 4, I get x is equal to 55. Now that means my other angle, or that is 55. How do I get this one? Well, what you're going to do to get this angle is you're going to do 3 times 55 minus 40, okay? And when you do that, you're going to come up with 125. So what that tells me is that my two angles is 50 degrees and 125 degrees. Now notice I didn't leave off those degree symbols. That's a unit of measurement. You should always have your unit of measurements in your answer. The reason I know they asked for both of those, it says what are their measurements. And notice this is plural. So they're wanting more than one number for an answer. Okay. Now, get this copy, put this in your interactive notebook, go to Canvas and find your assignment for complementary and supplementary angle word problems.